Good morning. Good morning. What's happening, family? Welcome to the show this morning. Oh my God, Kirk Franklin's version of Lift Every Voice and Sing is one of my all time favorites, the National Black Anthem. And I certainly appreciate and respect the fact that they said Legacy blew it out the water. But I didn't see it. So I'm going to have to either go catch it on YouTube so I can just see her version. Jermaine, what are you doing?
I'm
What are
slayed in
you
the spirit.
doing?
I was slayed in the spirit.
You be in your spirit.
I
You
was
don't even
slayed
get
in
them
the
spirits all the
I
time.
was sick.
You are such a ridiculous person. Good morning. Hey, Shelby. Good morning. Hey, Alex. Hey, Adeline. I know the family is checking in. Let me say good morning to everybody. I'm gonna just go to Debo.
You might want to do that.
I'm gonna just go. Good morning, Debo. How are you this morning?
Good morning, Michelle. I am blessed and highly favored this morning. Certainly glad to be here in the land of the living amongst the other live folks that are here today. So certainly I am good. How about yourself?
Jesus. As soon as he started talking, my soul just be like crunching up, like
The foolosity.
Oh, you try to find another word to patent?
Yeah.
Foolosity.
No.
Foolosity.
Foliosity.
Yeah. Foolosity.
Yeah, I actually have been using that one for a while, for about 2 years now. Dude, just when he started talking about soul, just started just turning inside out. Hey, Dion, good morning, sis. How you doing this morning? All right. Now let me pivot.
What that preacher? Oh, no, that's a TD Jakes say. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. But you know it's getting ready to come.
That's what he should have been saying when he was at them Diddy parties.
Right. Get ready, get ready, get ready, get ready. While you should be shaking.
That's what
While you're shimmying.
That's what he should have been saying when he was trying to make his exit at them Diddy parties. What up, Mr. Ride Out, aka Streetcar, aka This Moment in Black History?
Well,
how you doing this morning? What?
This moment in Black history, I found out something here. Willie Wetneck Johnson
Willie Wetneck Johnson
was the first black man to run from the police and get away. This man ran through every Martin Luther King street and every Malcolm X Boulevard.
You going straight to hell. I just want to be clear.
And he's a neighborhood icon. Do you know every shoe that you see hanging on the pole is paying homage to Willie Wetneck Johnson? Wetneck Johnson got the name because he had an S curl and his neck was always wet. And he got away by girl juice and sweat. It caused the police to slip when he was running through the neighborhood. He jumped the fence. He ran through apartment buildings. He ran out of his shoes.
And you got the running music.
His shoes is still hanging on the pole right now in the hood. Every young kid, every black young kid in America,
you got running music.
Want to be Willie Wetneck Johnson. And today we celebrate you, Willie Wetneck Johnson, because of you, many black Americans is getting away from the police.
OJ thought he could escape.
Oh, OJ thought he was the first one. No.
Wetneck Johnson.
Willie Wetneck Johnson was the first.
All right.
Willie, we pay homage to you. Every shoe you see hanging on the pole is because of you. This was brought to you by A&J Liquor. And know your history.
You got to do it again. You ain't singing right.
Know your history.
No, you do it again. Record it so I get the same because it's higher.
I got to change it up.
I need the same one.
All right, I'm going to give you the fast version because I'm running alongside of Wet Willie Neck Jr. You ought to know your history.
No, say,
I felt that one.
I like the higher version.
I tell you what's gonna help him.
What?
Stop the music. Bring the music out. And then
Willie,
do it in the key you normally do it in, because that's what
know your history.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Thank you, musical director.
Willie Wetneck.
Well, he's a musician. It's hard for him to sing out of key.
Right. I can't sing out of key. I don't see how people do it.
Yeah, so I just want to
Oh, man.
further separate myself from you Somebody said, not the background music.
Willie
to bring it home.
Willie Wetneck Johnson, thank you.
I don't.
I tell you.
And because of him.
Somebody said, we are having our breakfast and coffee. That's nasty. Wet neck.
That's curl juice and sweat.
Hey, Solis, good morning. They said, but you messing with their meal. You know, people trying to eat. You up here talking about wet neck. Somebody said, please don't thank Jermaine for this Black History moment. and somebody else said, my child is confused going to school.
Willie, what Nick Johnson?
And wanted to know if these are real Black history.
Now, those are real Black people. Yeah, because you had Johnny somebody.
I had Johnny Goatmouth Jones
yesterday.
Yeah.
People, you know, please educate.
These are our hood legends, man.
Please educate your own children. Do not rely. See, this is a classic example. Do not rely on other people to educate your children.
Well, this is one of the main reasons why I got
somebody
kicked out
wants
of class.
to go to school and repeat this at school.
Right. You know, Willie Wetneck Johnson was the first.
It's a part of their research. It's a part of their homework assignment.
I'm just in the principal's office.
Hey, you ever saw that? You saw that Bugs Bunny cartoon? When he was giving this kid a history moment, he was telling them all wrong. He came home and had the big deuce hat on his head.
That dunce hat?
Yeah.
And I wonder why. So I'm just going to tell y'all right now, WNOV, 860 AM 106.5 FM is not responsible for the accurate education of your babies.
Or inaccurate. In this case.
Handle your own business.
And let me say this too while we're doing this, Michelle. The views and opinions expressed on this show.
Stop sending me pictures of tennis shoes hanging from.
I'm telling you, Willie, hold up.
Stop sending me.
Show me them shoes again.
Stop sending me pictures of gym shoes hanging from.
Willie is still running right now at 110.
From phone lines. Stop it. Don't start it. See, but y'all don't never do nothing productive. Everybody laughing. Y'all don't never do nothing productive.
Willie.
But if it's some nonsense, y'all be right there for it. Now let me start talking about some important stuff I want to hear from you Negroes. But let it be some nonsense. Willie Wetneck Johnson. Don't send this to my phone.
Ooh,
send it to Jermaine. Don't send this to me.
Hey, somebody just text me like, ride out.
Is something wrong with you? Is that what they said?
Hey, wait.
You ought to get tired of people saying that.
This is Vernon Singleton from Community Baptist.
Vernon. I love Vernon. I went to college with Vernon.
What's going on, B? Willie Wetneck Johnson. Yes, sir, Jack. Be on the lookout. He's still out here running. Slow as a fool, but he's still out here running.
Vernon is my guy.
Yeah, that's my dude.
And I'm glad that other people know that it is something wrong with you. Good morning, Denise. Hey, Kenya, what's up, Barbara? How y'all doing this morning? Yeah, it's really sad. That's all I can say. I'm just devastated that
because of Willie.
You know, it's children thinking that these is things you should go and say at school. You know, somebody said I'm having my breakfast this morning. And we had heard that going into the November 2024 election, you know, it's the economy, stupid. It's all about the economy. Gas too high, eggs too high, meat too high, groceries too high, rent too high. That's what we heard. And we heard our Lord and Jesus and Savior, Donald Trump, say, I'm going to bring it down. Trust in me. Put your faith in me, and I will make it great again. That's what Donald Trump said. Okay. All right. So I saw that the Waffle House said, hey, we want you to come dine with us. But should you order eggs, there is a 50-cent per egg surcharge.
Wow.
And I'm like, 50 cents. It's already the Waffle House. Like, wait, what? So that becomes a little iffy. Then I see, you know, people are talking about folks are going to the grocery store and getting sticker shock because eggs are ranging between $8 and $10 for a dozen eggs. And I'm like, no, not true. I don't believe that. So I go, because I still got the Walmart app on my phone. So I go to Walmart and pull up eggs. Like I'm gonna order me some eggs this morning. $8.18. Wait, let me double check. Let me see if I still got it pulled up. Walmart app, Walmart app, Walmart app. Where you at? Where's Walmart? Oh, there it is. Okay. Um, eggs. Let me just make sure. I don't want to make any misstatements. Unlike what's his name? My stuff is factual in terms of stuff. Okay, so they have a 12 count uh thing of eggs for 5.46, and then they have 18 count for $8.18.
Wow.
So the 12 count at Walmart, and then they got another 18 count for $9.02. And if you want two 18 counts, they're $16. So then I heard on the news this guy saying in the business that they have, somebody said they paid $11.18 for 30 eggs.
No way.
I just got that text message.
No way.
So then I heard this guy who said our business, I guess they, whatever they cook, that on average they spent about $5,000 on eggs. And he said with the current prices that they now are spending $20,000 on eggs.
Michelle,
And that,
what's the frequency of that spend?
well, I mean, I don't know, but I'm just
is
saying.
it monthly,
No,
yearly?
I don't know.
Okay.
But just the idea, whether it's monthly, annually, quarterly, to go from 5,000 to 20,000,
that's $15,000 difference.
that breaks a business. Particularly if this is a smaller mom and pop kind of situation, it can break a business. So then I heard that people were stealing eggs, and that a truck with 100,000 eggs was stolen. Yes.
Wow.
Now, I don't know. And just so people like Michelle, stop. Come on now. Let me just pull the story up. This was reported 11 hours ago. The USA Today. Key points about the story. The theft occurred on Wednesday morning during a snowstorm, and the suspects fled before police got there. The stolen goods were worth an estimated, wait, that's not it. Oh, here it is. Days after 100,000 organic eggs worth more than $40,000 were stolen from a distribution center in South Pennsylvania, two men struck a West Seattle restaurant walk-in refrigerator around 3 a.m., and they stole eggs from them. The men took an estimated 540 eggs. People stealing eggs. Now, I don't know how much of this went on under the Biden administration. I don't remember seeing the stories about the stolen eggs. It could have happened. I just don't remember it. But people who was talking about, I'm voting for this guy because he's going to help with the cost of living and he's looking out for the little guy. And then I tried to think about like everything you cook. If you a real cook, you cook like for your family, solid, that requires eggs, and like how a lot of those things are about to fall off the menu. They're about to, and I had eggs yesterday, and I just had to sit down and think about like,
And Michelle, when you look at that, I mean, the cost of cakes and everything else that you're purchasing could subsequently be affected as well.
Could is going up.
No, everything.
Everything.
Going up. Yeah.
Everything. And this is Make America Great Again, though. This is we looking out for the little guy.
With the Great Depression.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So that was one thing that I paid attention to, and I was like, see, this is the BS that they was trying to sell people. There are others. I'm going to bring those out this morning. But before I do that, what is this? Let me see. Somebody said, $8 was nice. I saw some the other day for $14.13.
Mm.
Somebody else said back in October, November, 12 eggs were still $1.89 to $4, depending on the brand. I know, because I went back to look at, because I shop online. And I went back to look at my previous purchases, and I was not paying more than $3 for eggs. I went to go look.
Man, I'm going to say this. Don't be surprised if you start seeing chickens in yards and, people start.
We've seen that before. We even had to deal with ordinances here in the city of Milwaukee because there were a number of people who went to having chickens in their yard, particularly coming out of COVID or dealing with COVID. People were doing that.
I know a lot of the Hmong community, because there was an ordinance put in place that they could have X amount of chickens, wasn't it?
Yeah, Lena did some of the legislation and helped work on some of that, to talk about what we should be able to allow people to do, in the urban communities, like in the city of Milwaukee. Because, people, you shouldn't be able to have live animals in your yard and up to a certain number. Yeah, you can. And we even had some Black folks that had taken to grow on their own had their chickens and grown, whatever, harvesting their eggs, whatever you do with them, and was bringing them to the campaign office, like to Lena's campaign office, like, here goes some eggs, y'all. It was like, y'all really did this in y'all own yard, like over on Vine. It was crazy to me. But yeah, people are going to have to rethink how you're dealing with food and local sourcing. Farmers markets, they said the lines were wrapped around the streets and the corners waiting. So somebody said, I had chickens and I still have a garden. Yep, other folks are bringing up the aluminum and steel tariffs. Somebody said, still with this, Michelle. Yeah, I'm still with this. Yes, I'm still with this. Yes. I will get back to you. I hear you. I am still going to do that. Not a problem. I just got to figure it out, the timing. But yeah, so I want people to understand and appreciate that this is going to get significantly worse before it gets better. This is not, the sky is falling, but it's falling. It's falling. But before I do that, let me make sure that I mention the one thing that we have control over that makes a difference, whether we appreciate it or not. And that is the power of voting. Yesterday, I did go early vote, as I said I would. And when I went, I had saw, because I sat in the parking lot talking on the phone, and I saw, a few people trickle in. By the time I went in, I was the only person in there. I'm going to remind people, I'm going to go to break, but I'm going to remind people that the Department of Public Instruction is the only thing that was on my ballot. And for a lot of you, that's the only thing that's going to be on your ballot. It's the primary. There are 3 candidates. One called into the station on yesterday. That was Jeff Wright, Dr. Jeff Wright, former principal in the Chicago public school system. He is in Sauk Prairie, Wisconsin right now. Then there is Jill Underly, who is the incumbent, who has not made her way to the station to talk to people, but she's the incumbent. And then there is Brittany Kinzer. I had an interview scheduled with Brittany Kinzer. I think it was for either tomorrow or Thursday. I have to look at my emails. Brittany Kinzer's campaign canceled that interview. And they canceled it in a way that I knew they're not planning to come to my show, because they canceled it and never said, we ran into a scheduling issue, but can we get another date? Can we look at some different times? So I knew as soon as I read their cancellation that Brittany Kinzer was not planning to come to my show. I was surprised that she wanted to come anyway, because even though she says she's a Democrat, she says she's a blue dog Democrat, which is code for Republicans. I rock with y'all. She also has a campaign manager, Amy Loudenbeck, who is a Republican. And I just saw that over on The Truth, Sherwin Hughes' group, Leaders for Better Communities, is endorsing Brittany Kinzer. That's the first sign that there is a problem with Brittany Kinzer. Pay attention to these shows and who comes on to talk to y'all and who does not come on. But the other thing I'm gonna tell you, some of these talk show hosts keep people off their shows because they are endorsing or supporting a candidate. Pay attention to what you hear. Who's pushing what? I'm always transparent. I endorse two people, Keisha and Lena. But Dora Drake was welcome to come to this show anytime she wanted to. She never asked. Now, I ain't going to call you, but I ain't going to tell you no if you call me. She never asked. She went to Keith, she went to Keon, she went to Jesus, she went around the world and came back. She never asked to be on this show. But if she had asked, I would have said, of course, because that's how I rock. There are some radio hosts that are going to intentionally keep other candidates off their programs so you don't get to hear as the public from everybody. I've gone over my commercial break, but that was important to me. I'll be back. But remember what I tell y'all. Sitting behind this mic is a responsibility. You don't play with people's lives and you don't play games because you want a certain or particular outcome or because you are paid to help a candidate win. I don't roll like that. Never have, never will. That's why I tell y'all the real truth is at WNOV 860 AM 106.5 FM. I'll be right back.
One is emotional enough without adding the stress of funeral arrangements. By pre-planning, you receive the desires of your heart while taking away the burden from your family. It also saves you money, providing the dignity and respect your memory deserves. And there are times when life ends unexpectedly. Please know that the New Pitts Mortuary is here to lend a helping, caring hand anytime, day or night. We are the New Pitts
www.w1ov860.com. Don't wait, do it today.
With your host, Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. So once again, I'm going to take one quick second to remind you, it is early voting. The Department of Public Instruction is an important position here in the state of Wisconsin. They play a pivotal role in helping to ensure that our systems are running the way that they should, that, schools are consistent, and that we, are on the same page with the same goals about how to educate our children, even though local school districts ultimately, have a lot of power. You still want to have people that are responsive, that are willing to work with us in the Department of Public Instruction. And with that being said, I talked about the fact that there are 3 candidates in this race. The Republicans are getting behind Brittany Kinzer. From what I understand, she was on Will Martin's show here at NOV. Will Martin is the House Republican. So I just want people to understand, no matter what Brittany Kinzer is saying, that her it seems like some of her positions align more with Republicans. I'm not saying that's the end of the world. I'm not saying it's awful and she shouldn't be elected. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is I need people to understand where people lean, because we know that with Republican leadership in the legislature, we've seen education gutted financially. We've seen resources dry up. We've seen funding formula flaws that shorted MPS. We've seen police officers be forced back into our district when the school board in Milwaukee said we didn't want it. We've seen the potential takeover of, Milwaukee Public Schools in terms of identifying failing schools and giving 55 schools, if he had wanted it, to the county executive at the time, Chris Abley. So we know what Republicans do when they get their hands on education. Brittany Kinzer leans Republican. Her campaign manager is a Republican. When she did appear on this station, she appeared on the Republican show. So I'm just telling people, when folks start, doing their little interviews and having people up at the mic and, blah, 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 ask them, are they going to bring other people on? Ask them if there's going to be a fair representation. Because, like I said, when I saw Brittany Kinzer's staff email, I knew they would not come to the show, because somebody had finally figured it out. You're not going to get no fluff interview over there with Michelle. You're going to get some real questions. You're going to get asked about policies that impact this community, and there is going to be pushback. You're going to be handled with respect, but ain't nobody getting ready to play with you over here and just prop you up and make you look like the next coming of Jesus. You're going to answer real questions. And so her team decided not to have her be on this show. That's the thing that I stay in trouble about, is because I don't care what my personal position is. I will always advocate for y'all to hear from everybody. That's what people that are responsible and decent, who understand that the community looks to us for a degree of trust, are supposed to do. My personal preferences aside, A, I'm supposed to tell you when I got a horse in the race. B, it's not supposed to influence the way I do my job. C, I'm supposed to make sure that you as a community get to hear from everybody that's willing to talk to you. And D, I'm going to raise hell when they don't. You understand what I'm saying? So I just want people who were upset with me about positions I've taken on other things, other candidates, other races. I'm consistent, y'all. I'm always going to fight for you to be heard and for people to have to come talk to you. I'm always going to do that. Whether I like a candidate or not, whether I support a candidate or not, I believe that if people are asking for your vote, they should be willing to bring their behind where you are and come sit down and talk to you. And people that don't do that are cowards to me. They should not be in leadership roles. Because leadership means you have to deal with everybody. The people that voted for you that didn't, the people that like you or don't, the people that support you or won't. You have a job to do when you take public money, because that money that goes into that pot does not discriminate. They don't only take money from white Republicans. They don't only take money from black folks. They don't only take money from the faith community. They don't only take money from LGBTQ plus IA. They don't only take money from Hispanic Latinos, from indigenous people. Everybody's money is in that pot. So when you say you want to run for office, you have a responsibility to go everywhere. But too many of these candidates and the people that work with them, the consultants and the strategists, have decided to throw a middle finger up to people in the community because you're busy trying to protect your candidate. But if your candidate can't defend their positions, and if your candidate can't talk for themselves, I don't need them in office. If you can only go where it's safe, if you can only go in a friendly room, I don't need you in office. I don't need you in office. Because the reality is, when you get to the state building, it's not going to be a friendly room. And we don't have control of either house of the assembly or the Senate. We don't have control of joint finance. But I just ain't never been one for messing with scared people. I don't have scared people in my circle. They can't run with me. I can't do nothing with a scared person. I can't do nothing with you. We'll still be in slavery messing with scared people. I can't do nothing with you. Now, I've had that moment. Let me move on because I got a guest coming in. Let me just take a second and say that, okay, before I do that, I saw I got a call, so I'm going to take the caller first. Hey, caller, what's happening? Hello?
Good morning, Michelle. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you this morning?
I just want to tell you, you keep rocking the way you rocking, because you out there in the field with us, and one guy you talking about, I think he's working out of the house, you know what I mean? And thank God for the radio station to have a person like you on, because there's a lot of followers that are following you. So you keep doing what you're doing.
I appreciate that, bro. Thank you so much. And I'm just going to always implore our community, y'all think for yourself. I don't care if it's me. I don't care who's talking to y'all. Take in all the information. When we get done on these shows, go pick up your phone, get on your computer, Google what we said, see if there's some merit or some truth to that. Verify the stories that we put in front of you, the policies that we put in front of you. Because I just think about the way this dude over at The Truth tried to destroy Lakeisha Meyer's reputation just because you supported another candidate. Like, I just don't have no respect for that.
Absolutely. I'm with you.
Oh, I know you're still there. Thank you, bro.
Right.
But no, I want y'all to think for yourselves, man. Please think for yourselves. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Good morning, Michelle. This is Angela. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing this morning, Angela?
So I have a question. Just like the other lady say she African American, is this lady African American too?
No, none of the candidates running for DPI superintendent are black or people
I
of
know.
color.
I'm just being,
Oh, you're just being funny. Oh, okay.
right. I'm just like, is she African American too? Like the other lady say she African
No,
American.
she not that, but she obviously is scared. That's what she is.
Right.
All right. Thank you, Angela. I appreciate the call. Yeah,
Yes,
y'all.
ma'am. And you do keep up the good work because you know you right. You on 10. You know what to do. You know what the business is.
Yes,
They don't
ma'am.
want none of your smoke.
Thank you, Angela. I appreciate it. Yeah, y'all. I'm just saying, family, like some of this stuff just drive me crazy. And I stay in trouble. I keep amassing a long list of enemies, but I don't bother nobody. I do not bother anybody. I don't come for you. I leave people alone. But my problem is that when I see something that look out of order, I'ma say something. That's my problem. That's why you won't see a lot of these legislators come into my show, because they already know I see you, fam. You on some BS. You go back and do that tap dance in your district, but I see you. So, hey, they don't come talk to me. I'm fine with that. But just understand, you got a responsibility to talk to this community. You got a responsibility, man. And whether you like it or not, for some of y'all, you're going to represent me personally too. So when you are not willing to talk to me as even a voter, I got a problem with that. Yes, sir.
It seems to me that when people run from the smoke, as we call it, that's because they know that you're going to hold their feet to the fire. And if I'm holding your feet to the fire in front of everybody and you don't know how to respond,
that's a problem.
And I'm gonna run from that.
That's a problem, man. And that's my thing, because people will set up these sweetheart interviews for people, make them try to be in their best light. Like, I ain't got time for that. You said you wanted this job. We didn't call you and ask you to run. And whoever did, they should have told you what you were going to be up against. But I just do not like, I don't like BS when it comes to what we present to people that listen to us. People trust us to come into their homes, to expose us to their children, to give credence to some of the things that we sit up and say behind these mics. We have a responsibility to do that in a way that is above reproach. We have a responsibility to do that in a way that is fair. Now, I can lean either way. I can go upside Republicans' heads all day long. But I also talk to Republicans. It's Republicans that text me throughout the course of my shows. I'm arguing with them about different issues, but I see them out in the streets. Hey, Michelle, what's up, bro? How you doing? Because at the end of the day, I honestly believe people want the same thing. But as somebody behind this microphone, you are entrusted to do the right thing. Oh, wait. And let me do this too. For people that didn't know, Tiger Woods' mother has passed away. There was an announcement that he was going to be pulling out of like some signature tournament. I think that's actually like maybe named after him, because his mom passed away. I remember when they first came on the scene. I've had an opportunity to be in the room with Tiger Woods, his mom, and never interacted with her, but just a very, very nice lady. Somebody who definitely, proud of her heritage, wanted Tiger to always understand who he was. That's why I think when he made the comment, when people was like, oh, the first black golfer, and Tiger Woods is like, I'm not basically, just a black golfer. Like, y'all see my mama, and I'm not getting ready to diss my mother and her background and her heritage, as well. So just so people that know, that love and support this brother, that he has lost his mom. But let me say this, and I'm getting ready to mess with one of my colleagues, Keith. As I drove away yesterday, I heard the show. I was listening to his show. And I heard him, talk about the fact that Latinos had been lynched, because we act like, as Black people, and he didn't say this, I'm paraphrasing, that we may own the whole lynching conversation. And he said, but Latinos have been lynched. So, I had to have a moment in which I went and I looked up Latino lynchings. And I'm going, because I'm making this point, same point I was making with Holy Redeemer. I'm gonna make it with my colleague. So I looked up the lynchings. And so there's a period of time, and I'm looking for the exact period of time that there was roughly about nearly 5,000 reported lynchings in the United States. Okay. And of those nearly 5,000 lynchings, it was either 71 or 73 were Latino. 72% of those lynchings were Black people. Why do I say that? Because people keep trying to figure out a way to include everybody else in a conversation that's not their conversation right now. I am going to fight people to the death about trying to dilute Black history, dilute our experiences, and say, but other folks went through. I appreciate that. And those people have folks telling their story. But as people try to destroy our history, whitewash our history, it wasn't that bad, or other people went through it too. Other immigrants faced discrimination when they came to this country too. Can't none of y'all put that on the scale of what was done to Black people. The only people that come close and are right there neck and neck, it was what was done to the indigenous people of this land. That's it. But everybody else, there was the uprising against the so-and-so and the so-and-so. On American soil, the only war that has been fought on this soil was about the institution of slavery. So I can't do it with y'all. I can't talk about Latino lynchings and Black lynchings in the same conversation because there is no freaking difference. And I'm sorry, no comparison. No comparison. Not minimizing what happened to nobody else. But I just be damn if I'm going to keep fighting people to talk about Black folks during Black History Month. I'm not. Carter G. Woodson wasn't trying to uplift the Latino and the Puerto Rican and the this and the that. Y'all, be okay. I'm hollering. Let me stop. Let me fall back. Be okay with just highlighting our progress in this country. It's nothing wrong with that. We got 11 months throughout the year to bring in, to support, to uplift, to acknowledge, and to honor everybody else. We got 11 months to do that. But for 28 days, we ought to be able to figure out as a people how to tell our story. Because people are trying to destroy our story. We don't tell it to our children. That's why they walk out here and act like fools in the streets, because they don't know whose they are or who they belong to or what they came from. They don't understand what we've done as a people to get to this moment when you can have a Black family that sat in the White House and a Black woman that became the vice president of this country without brothers calling her out her name. When you don't understand and appreciate it, and people can tell you what they want to all day long. Oh, talk to me about some new stuff. No, Negro, if you understood the old stuff, you will understand ain't none of this new. If you understand what we've been through and the fights we fought, you would understand that Make America Great Again means 1940, 1930, 1960, 1970. That's what you would understand. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hello.
Hello.
I just told your coworker
that
you need to be quiet because you have plagiarized in my sermon. Amen.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
And what you're saying, I have experienced, you wouldn't believe I have experienced almost everything you said that happened bad to black people.
Mm.
I was on my way to Florida in a car with some friends of mine, and a young white state patrol or whatever it was. There's about 5 of us. He stopped and talked. He told us, I don't know what he was telling us, but he slapped this dude's hat off his head. Keep hat off when you're talking to the officer. I have been beaten by the police, and I have been discriminated to death by MPS in particular and everywhere else. And I think I'm discriminated more against because people see my altitude.
Mm.
When they see my altitude, I think they get threatened. And I have said many times, I don't take nothing off of nobody except people I respect and who I let take advantage of me. That's like my children and my family.
What'd you say?
And
they playing you, but you my folks, and so I'm gonna go with it.
And people say I'm sort of hard on white people, and they say you don't get on black people. I give black people a lot more rope, but I get in their butcher columns too because they got in mind, and that's how I am, who I am. Right. I was born and raised by my teachers in Atlanta, GA. And did you ever hear what Deion Sanders said about Atlanta when he first got there?
What'd he say?
When he got to Atlanta, he saw black people driving big cars and the police not bothering them and they're running things. This is where he needs to be.
Oh, yeah.
And like I said, I had many role models, black role models. I wouldn't even associate with white people because Atlanta was so segregated, but the black part of Atlanta was as good or better than the white part of Atlanta because we built our own stuff and we had our own stuff. I didn't know any different.
All right.
And y'all have a good one.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Got another caller. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Hey, Michelle, I just wanted to give you some flowers. It's kind of a cute, funny story, and it's perfect timing for what you're talking about today.
Okay.
So I'm trying to make this real quick. So I'm from back in the day, drive my kids to school, and we listening to Michael McGee and Teju. So This is my normal routine.
Okay.
So I got my grandbaby in the car. So, she's 6, but ever since she's a baby, pick her up. We're going to turn on Michelle Bryant if she in the car in the morning. So she would be like, turn it off, Grandma. I don't want to listen to that. So I'd be like, okay. So now she's a little bit older. So we driving, and I'm still putting it on. And then one day you was talking about MPS and the schools and how they hot. And we don't have no air conditioning in MPS. She listened. She said, Grandma. And she said, and I said, what? So I started having a conversation with her. So she started talking about whatever you was talking about. She was talking about her school and all this and that. Now she's 6. So then we get close to the station. And I said, okay, there go Michelle Bryant right there. And we at the red light. She looking. I said, well, we're going to turn on YouTube. So every time I pick her up now, she be like, can you turn on the radio? Can we drive past? Can I go in and meet her? Like, she is so in love with you now. And I say all that to say, keep doing what you're doing. Let's keep educating the babies. And you hit a nerve with that hotness. She started talking about how she get her water bottles and how many times they get to go to the bubbler. And she was like, my school not that hot. I said, well, you blessed. I said, but she said, but yeah, we have to. And then, telling me the whole story about how they stay hydrated. So bless your heart, Michelle. Keep doing what you're doing. And you keep yelling, because I tell you what, sometimes we just got to get it out the way we need to get it out. I appreciate you, sister.
Thank you so much, sis. I appreciate you. And anytime you hear and that baby is with you, you can knock on the door and have them bring her into the studio, and I will definitely take a minute to talk to her. That invitation is open. All right, family, let me go to break. I'll be right back.
With your host, Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. It's Michelle Bryant here, WNOV 860 AM, 106.5 FM. I know we had some callers that held through the break. I did ask Jermaine to let you guys know that I have a guest in studio. But if there's an opportunity after the interview, please, you're welcome to call back. We can finish the conversation. You know, as we talk about Black History Month, there are things that are a part of the fabric of who we are as a community that are good, and there are things that give us pause and things that are outright frustrating. I was listening as I drove in this morning to a story under the Biden administration. There had been work done to make a connection between hair relaxers, which are, Black folks, we get a perm. Black women in particular, we get a perm to straighten our hair. It was something that was basically almost required to be more acceptable in the workplace. You couldn't wear that natural, that fro. That was a brief period of time when that fro was welcomed in the workplace. And what people have begun to find out is that they could connect, they believe, those hair relaxers to fibroid tumors, and that the amount of fibroid tumors in Black women excessive. And so the FDA, do we pull this product from the market? But you just realize that there are things that have been disparate in the amount of impact in our community, and you got to pay attention, and you got to wonder why, and we got to educate the community about those things. The thing about that hair relaxer is the Trump administration is questioning the efficacy of the findings. And so there is a real possibility that those perms will not be pulled from the market as the Biden administration had initially proposed. Another issue has come to light. And I am fortunate this morning, our community is fortunate this morning to have Mark Thompson in with us with a law firm that is actually looking at another medical case that potentially has disparate impact on the Black community. We'll talk a little bit about how and why maybe that could happen. But first of all, let me just say good morning. Hey, Mark, how you doing this morning?
Good morning, Michelle. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
It looks like it's going to snow soon.
I know.
It's nice and warm here, so I'm honored and privileged to be here with you.
No, I appreciate it. So, Mark, first of all, tell folks the law firm that you are connected to.
My law firm is Gingras, Thompson, and Wax. We have offices Eau Claire, Madison, Waukesha, and Milwaukee. I'm in Milwaukee. I've been living in Milwaukee since 1984 when I left the steel mills in Indiana and moved to this city and became a lawyer.
I actually thought I saw somewhere in a bio that you actually had left school before completion. Was that right? Left high school before completion?
Yeah, I was a proud high school dropout. I say that sarcastically.
I got you.
My parents weren't very happy with me, but I was a young kid and I just didn't know where I fit in the world, and
I wanted that said because so often, people will have decisions that they make that are life-changing, life-altering. And people will also, make some bad choices or things that happen that are of no fault of their own. I need to drop out of school to go to work. I, got family issues. But that idea that doesn't define my entire life, that I get to rewrite the story, that I get to go back and finish, that I become a lawyer, that, I'm a partner in a firm. That is such an inspiring thing for me because too often people don't see that light at the end of the tunnel or a way out. And so I just, like I said, I saw that piece in your background.
That's very kind of you. There are many, many roads to living a fulfilling life. And you don't have to fit that little cookie model, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, we get to it at our own pace, our own time. I just need you to get there. So I just wanted people to hear that.
Yeah, you have to go out and study and learn about the world.
Period.
sooner or later, right?
You do.
There
You
is
do.
too much.
So in talking about learning about the world, you all have a medical I don't know if I should call it a case or
Yeah,
but an area of interest right now that we are flagging for the community. People need to be aware of. Can you take a little bit of time just to talk about what it is your firm is working on right now?
yeah, they are. There have been some recent studies that have looked at Depo-Provera. It's called the shot, right?
Right.
It's been used. The FDA approved it in 1992.
Hang on one second, Mark. Debo, are you over there? Because I'm getting messages that they need your mic. Pull your mic up a little bit for me, Mark, and let me just see.
Hello, hello.
Is it up now? Okay. So yeah, we just needed you to lean in a little bit then. Okay. Thank
My
you.
my apologies.
No, we're good.
That's
We're
better.
good. Yep.
Okay. So there are studies recently about what Depo-Provera, which is better known sort of the shot. It is a prescription drug. It's medroxyprogesterone acetate, MPA. We're just going to call it MPA.
Okay.
But for years and years and years, starting in 1992, it's used around the world. But it is the shot that is designed to reduce contraception, essentially, right?
So the frequency.
It suppresses ovarian activity, and so it is a very, very efficient way where folks go in every 12 to 18 weeks, generally quarterly.
So I think the way they would advertise it is if you were someone that needed contraception and but you didn't like taking that daily pill for whatever reason you couldn't, that this was something that you only had to do 4 times a year.
Correct.
I think is the way I've seen it advertised over the years. And so a lot of women, for convenience purposes, continuity, they would say, oh my goodness, I can go get a shot, every quarter and I'm good in terms of contraception. But we have now begun to hear that there may be some issues.
So, in the last, probably 5 years, and more recently, just in the last couple of years, there's been a lot of literature that have identified that using the shot, there is an association with the development of brain tumors. Many of them benign, but some are cancerous. But often you have to do brain surgery, and because you're doing surgery in the brain, you have really, really bad symptoms. We started working with Robbins Kaplan out of Minneapolis. They recently just filed a major lawsuit in January in Minneapolis, and we're talking about what can we do together to get this information out to the community.
Because this was happening in districts all over the country, and we saw law firms with individual cases or clients that they were pursuing. And I saw down in Florida, there was just recently a decision made to bring all these folks, I guess, under the same umbrella. Is that correctly in terms of jurisdictions?
Right. There's a big discussion over MDL and where multi-district litigation, where it's going to end up.
Okay.
But I mean, for purposes of the community in Milwaukee and Wisconsin, the issue is if you were using the shot, right? Because it was right, everybody did it 4 times a year. The evidence is that there's an association where folks that have been using it for more than 2 years, you have this significant potential risk of developing these brain tumors. And the studies around the world are looking at it, and I just wanted to give you a statistic here. I brought some detail. The National Health Statistics Report, just published in December 2023, 24.5% of all sexually experienced women ages 15 to 49 between 2015 and 2029 had used Depo-Provera. That report, though, this is where it's significant. The proportions increased further for Hispanic women, 27.2%, and African American Black women, 41.2%. And so part of our interest in it is, are there folks out there that have been diagnosed with meningiomas, brain tumors, with symptoms? Because if you have, and you have been using Depo-Provera, it's time to call and find out whether or not these brain tumors are associated with Depo and whether you have legal recourse.
So the thing that I noted when I first heard the commercial that was getting ready to start running on the station, and its impact in particular on Black women and the Black community, I went back all the way to the initial studies. So Pfizer is the company that produces Depo, and so I went back, and when I saw clinical trials, and I'm gonna just tell you, I saw that they were held at Grady Memorial Hospital down in Atlanta, down in Georgia. That was an immediate red flag for me. And I'm going to tell you why. Because a lot of times Black people talk about the fact that many clinical trials don't include Black people. I just did this the other day. I was washing my hands at a public facility, and I was trying to get the water to come on. I got the soap and trying to get the water to come on. Water wouldn't come on. And then two white women were waiting to use the sink. It was a small bathroom. And I told one of the white women, I said, put your hand under the water for me. And she was like, well, I said, put your hand under the water for me. She put her hand under the water came right on. And she said, oh, I guess I have that touch. And I said, no, you got the right skin color. And so her and her friend both looked at me, and I said, initially when this technology was being developed, Black people were not a part of the training. So the sensors did not recognize Black skin in the same way to make the water come on.
And now you're teaching me something.
Yeah. And so we had this whole moment where we sat stood just kind of like, it's just like, you are kidding me. The minute I saw Grady Hospital, I said to myself, something about this was targeted. Then I went back to see that they were looking for women who were of a certain economic background, had a child already, was worried about having multiple children and being able to afford them. And so to some degree, there actually was some targeting of Black women in the clinical trials by Pfizer when they first did this back in the 1960s, because that's how far back I could trace that, these clinical trials started. And anytime, and, so we think Tuskegee experiments, people get a little antsy. So then to understand the percentage of Black women that are impacted, and that Pfizer knew that there were side effects, is some of the things that I'm hearing. Have you heard any of that?
Well, I think what we know for certain is they didn't really do a full analysis tests to find out whether it was safe to begin with. And, it's a long process in terms of, there were predecessor companies before Pfizer ended up getting it. There's technically, Pfizer was a player, others were players. Pfizer ended up basically owning everybody recently. But generally, there has been no detailed analysis testing of the association of the shot and the development of brain tumors. More recently, folks are looking at it. In outside of the United States, there are specific warnings that, look, if you're using Depo-Provera, watch out for these symptoms.
Because this product is still on the market.
It's still on the
available.
market. It's still there. And so what we know is that there's insufficient testing, insufficient warnings, and that's why there is an evaluation of a product liability. Is this drug unsafe? Is it designed incorrectly? And then the question is, because of its use and its marketing, is it having a disproportionate impact? As you said, disparate impact on women of color. And part of doing this show, running the ads, is working with Robbins Kaplan to find out, are there women out there that have these symptoms, this diagnosis? Because it's time then to follow up. Because we're really trying to put together the data. And if there are women that have been impacted, we're definitely looking for it.
One of the things that I'm concerned about is how women even know that this is an issue for them. So, I mean, because some folks, I don't know what finally makes you go to the doctor because something is wrong. You're noticing something may be going on, or if it's found during a routine exam, which that's kind of hard to believe because I've never had a routine exam that actually required a scan of my brain. So do we know how, is there something that women should be looking for, paying attention to, that makes them even go to the doctor to figure out if they potentially have brain tumors or have been impacted?
There's going to be, if you're out there and if you've been diagnosed already,
okay,
because we know that there are a lot of people, significant numbers, that have been diagnosed with meningiomas, these brain tumors, and with symptoms. So, I mean, people get headaches, they're dizzy. I mean, there's all sorts of symptoms that go along with the tumors.
Okay.
So the question is, if you are having symptoms, you're getting dizzy, you need to get tests. The best test to date is MRIs in terms of diagnosing the tumor itself. If you know that you have been diagnosed, the question is, you need to talk to your physician and reach out, because part of the lack of warning is that Pfizer did not warn the physicians of the risks associated with the prolonged use of the shot. I mean, so we have there's 150 milligram shots 4 times a year, 2 years, there's clear now 555% increased risk of developing intracranial tumors, meningiomas. And it's just getting out there now to the doctors about this risk. So, I mean, there were years and years, doctors may not have associated. So the question is, if you have been diagnosed, if you have symptoms, like if you're getting dizzy and you got, weakness, that something's going on with your brain and your body, you need an MRI. I mean, your doctors will get you there.
So let me just ask 2 quick questions. I know we're coming up against a break, and then we'll let people know how they can reach out to your law firm to follow up. But number one, kind of morbid. If people, think about, I have a family member who has already passed away, but they actually had been diagnosed with this brain tumor. And yes, while it was benign, should those people reach out as well? Or is it just for folks that are currently experiencing this?
Now, I think if you've had diagnosis, if you've had treatment, and it's had an impact, you should reach out.
Okay.
Okay, because the issue is, do you have residual symptoms? The fact that if a tumor was removed and it was successful, and frankly, look at, if you're fully recovered and there are nothing ongoing, it may not be worth the time and effort if it's benign. But many people that have been diagnosed, even with it's benign, the treatment has left residuals,
Right.
permanent symptoms, permanent treatment, not full recoveries, then definitely.
So the other question is this subject to time limitations? Are there a statute of limitations on how long people have, to reach out to your office to file a claim from the time somebody texted me while we were sitting here saying they took it when they were, what did she say? She was 15. She took it from 16 to 21. At the 5-year mark, her gynecologist recommended that she switch over to the pill. So this was years and years ago. So is there a statute of limitation? How do people determine whether or not I'm eligible for this conversation?
You should call with the symptoms, because it's going to be, there are many, many legal arguments to deal with the statute of limitation. Mainly with these products, you got to have notice. And so there's equitable tolling of statute of limitations. So even though you may have been diagnosed, I mean, if you've been diagnosed, you had tumors, you had treatment, and you still have symptoms, it's never too late at this point in time to call in to find out whether or not you have a claim, because the studies that show this association are in 2023 and 2024. So people are just now finding out about the role of the medication.
All right, let me do this. Let me take a quick break. Folks, I see your questions coming to my text via text. Let me take a quick break. When we come back, we'll make sure that Attorney Thompson provides the information on how you can reach out to the firm and, final comments about what it is that we should be doing. And, I'm just telling people how quickly we need to act to make sure that we are a part of this conversation. Michelle Bryant, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. I'll be right back.
with your host, Michelle Bryant on WNOV.
All right, folks, welcome back to the show. So you may have heard the spot that is running. I have one of the attorneys that is with us, Mark Thompson, who is talking about the need for the community to be aware of what is going on around Depo-Provera, a birth control form of contraception that, or a form of contraception, birth control, that many women have used in our community in particular for years, decades. And, now there is research that is showing possible links between brain tumors and this product, and trying to figure out if there are folks in our community that need to be aware of this. There are folks that have begun to file suits against the company that basically right now has everything housed on it under it in terms of FISERV, although there was just a question because someone said that they had taken what they thought was a generic version of the product, and so they didn't know if that counted as well. But one of the things that is clear from the text messages that I'm receiving is that the community is definitely trying to get information. There have been 2 women who have said, I would love to be able to take this back to my women's group to be able to mention. So, Mark, in terms of how you are getting this information out, since it's relatively new, are you willing to go out and talk to groups, or how are you guys getting the information out or talking to folks?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think what's really important in terms of information and why we're just doing this now, March of 2024, a study was published in the British Medical Journal, and it reported that Depo-Provera users face a 555% increased risk of developing meningiomas, these brain tumors. They can cause pressure on the brain. You get symptoms, vision loss, seizures, neurological deficits. MRIs do the diagnosis, but they have to be surgically removed. Fortunately, most of these tumors are benign, but with the surgery, it's very invasive, and many folks have left with residuals. That's why we're doing it. We're trying to find out. So in terms of if people have community groups, they could contact the station. They could call the number. We have a 1-800-207-6225 number. Go to gtwlawyers.com. Ask for Mark Thompson. I will be more than willing to come out in the community and talk to people, because this is really, how do we gather people? Because we're working with Robbins Kaplan out of Minneapolis. They already have suits in the hopper, and we're trying to put together the folks, the analysis to find out, are there people in our community that have been impacted? And what, generic or not, you call and you get it screened.
Okay.
Right. I mean, to give someone a yes or no, they need to go through the complete analysis, because if you're taking these medications and if you've taken them for years, generally we know that if it's 2 years plus, the risk is significant.
So one of the text messages that just came through, they were wondering, would this then be considered a class action lawsuit of sorts, or?
There are individual claims, but they will ultimately probably end up in a multi-district litigation class action. But the only way to evaluate each person's case is individually.
Got it. Well, I'm gonna tell you, if my phone is any indication of the interest and people trying to learn more, figure out, how they have either been impacted or if they're impacted at all, it's a lot of activity going on. So,
let me say it again. Call 1-800-207-6225 and working with Robbins Kaplan, we'll do an evaluation to find out what we can do for you. Right. So I'll be here. My firm is in Milwaukee.
Okay.
And we'll be working together with people that are they're deeper into it.
Okay.
But we're here to help.
All right. So, folks, those spots are running on the station right now in relationship to getting more information. You have heard the phone number. And I'm going to ask you to repeat that number one more time. Or if there's a email or website that people can go to, where else should they go, Mark?
Yep. Hello, folks. This is Mark Thompson. I'm a partner with Gingrass Thompson and Wax. The number to call 1-800-207-6225 or go to gtwlawyers.com and just follow through the instructions.
And you guys, I went to the website, and there is actually a page that is dedicated to this. You will see it, Depo Provera, investigating claims of that word was tripping me up, but it's meningioma.
Right. Meningiomas.
Meningioma. Okay. In women. And this was again, brain tumors. And I didn't even realize that also some spinal tumors, looking at the site, that potentially was an impact as well, or a result as well. But the information is here on the page for people that want to learn more or to understand what you should do to begin the evaluation or the assessment process.
Absolutely. We're here to try to find out answers. We can only give answers if we get all the information.
Right.
And I just want to thank you so much for having me here in the heart of my city. Because it's really, really important to get it out. And I always know this, you get it out. So I appreciate that.
Thank you. Nope. And I'm, like I said, thank you for flagging it. Because, people go through life with different challenges. You don't understand what happened or why. And for somebody to take the time to figure out that there may be a connection here. And if so, there may be a way to try to address it. And in some way make it right. Then we need to make sure that our community understands.
Yeah, I think it's also really important to call to find out isn't going to cost you anything other than your time.
There you go.
And you should take care of your health. You should find out. And because if it is established that these are valid claims, then you do have recourse. And don't miss your opportunity, folks.
All right. All right, family. Let me go to commercial break. Michelle Bryant, WNOV, 860 AM, 106.5 FM. Let me thank attorney Mark Thompson for coming in. Those ads are running, so you'll be able to get that phone number, but you can always call the station. If you missed anything, we'll make sure we get you hooked up, and we will be right back.
NOV.
All right, family, welcome back to the show. So I only have a little bit of time left. I want to just make sure, though, that I circle back on the interview that I just did. A number of text messages came through. People had different questions about it. But I did go to the Robbins Kaplan website, the firm that Mark Thompson said that they were working with out of Minnesota. And again, just looking at some of the data, a 555% increased risk of developing meningioma, and this is the brain tumors, benign in most cases, but the brain tumors, and the spinal cord, impact as well. And so I'm looking at some of this and that whole disproportionate impact on women of color section that they had on their website. And this was one of the things that just stood out to me. Depo-Provera has long been marketed to women of color, particularly Black and Hispanic women, framed as a convenient solution to unintended pregnancies. And so he gave a lot of the data himself. But the thing that I mentioned about Grady Hospital is actually on their website. This trend was evident in the Grady Hospital study in Atlanta, where low-income Black women were enrolled in Depo-Provera clinical trials marked by ethical violations, including inadequate disclosure of risk, failure to follow protocols, and misleading participants into thinking they were receiving routine medical care. Now, I don't know about you, but when somebody says that people were misled into believing that they were receiving routine medical care, that sounds like I may not have even been told what was going on with this Depo-Provera at all. Like, did I even know I was getting the shot? So there have been these campaigns. They said public health campaigns in the 1990s further reinforced this pattern, targeting underserved communities and promoting Depo-Provera as a solution to unintended pregnancies. And again, you understand why we are reluctant when it comes to the medical community. And even though people say, hey, Tuskegee was a long time ago, there is residual effect from some of these things. These clinical trials, at least at Grady Hospital, go back to the 1960s. 1960s. It's 2025. We are just beginning to make the connections between health problems that have been experienced by women of color and some of these products that we were taking. Then only to find out we were used as guinea pigs in some cases and not fully told. Attorney Thompson said the doctors weren't fully told what was going on. Y'all, when we hear people talking about this stuff, we got to pay attention. That piece on them hair relaxers, we got to pay attention to that because Donald Trump is literally saying, yeah, I don't think we're going to pull this stuff off the market. I have fibroid tumors. I had them. And most of the Black women I know had them. I used to perm my hair. I don't know if one connected to the other, but I know I'm not going to ignore it. Let me go to the phone line. Hey, caller, what's happening?
Yes. Good morning, Miss Michelle Bryant.
Hey, JT, how you doing today?
I'm doing wonderful. How about yourself?
Good, good. Is something going on with your phone? You sound far away. You on a speaker or something?
No, on a track phone flip. Can you hear me better now?
Okay, it sounds a little bit better. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Good morning. Good morning to those distinguished gentlemen in the studio this morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Who are they?
Good morning.
Hey, Michelle, just quickly, I just want to give a little bit of Black history quickly. And that is a full generation before Plymouth Rock, there was Black people already here. They was called Black Indians. Now you can find that out. All you have to do is Google up PBS, American Black Indians. And they did a long time research about that and found out, yes, there was indeed Black American Indians already here, a full generation before Plymouth Rock. Now the world-renowned Black historian, Dr. Henry Gates Lewis, also discovered that maybe 30 years before Plymouth Rock, there's Black settlers already here. That wasn't necessarily Black Indians. So anytime somebody say that The only reason why we exist in America because we came here on slave ships. The only thing the slaves did was just populated the area more. But there was black people already here in the United States, like I said, a full generation before Plymouth Rock. That means Christopher Columbus' so-called land and the discovery of this country. So I just wanted to add that quickly, Michelle. And like I said, they can just Google up PBS, American Black Indians, and find out that information about who was actually here before slavery.
All
and
right.
Dr. Henry Lace Jr., yes, that too. All right, thank you, Michelle.
All right, thank you, JT. The one thing I'll just say is that, we know that there were Africans who had escaped, fled, Spaniards, made their way into territory, sought refuge, if you will, amongst indigenous people. We used to say Native Americans. We know that everybody did not come as a slave. Keon, that was his thing. He used to love to tell you that. Everybody was not always an enslaved person. I appreciate that. But we just got to be clear. I don't have the exact percentage, but I'm going to step out on a limb. 90%. And I think that still might be too low. 90% of black folks that came to this country came as enslaved people. And we can connect them to, the transatlantic slave trade. I think that that's fair to be able to say that probably about 90% came that way. With that being said, I'm going to wrap the show. Let me say, appreciate the bros. Hey Keith, how you doing this morning? Latino lynchings. How you doing this morning? How you look like you want to say something. You look like you want to say something. Space and opportunity. You got something to say? That's what
I'm not fighting
you can't even talk.
with black people doing Black People History Month.
That's all I'm saying.
Now I got to sit up here all my life.
I knew it was
I
coming.
had to fight.
I knew it was
all
coming.
my life.
Yep, don't say stuff that gets you in the fight space.
I just said something. You just took it all out of context.
Yeah, I heard.
No. You heard what
listening.
you wanted. You took it all out of context.
I heard what I wanted
man,
to.
you just said some ran all up the street with it.
Did I run up the street with it? Did I?
What's the bell for?
Know your history.
No, your history.
Keith can fix it up, man.
Yeah, man.
I need like yesterday to sing it. You can tell that's his jam now.
But he
That's his jam. He did it yesterday.
He was in that thing, though.
Maybe we need to work on a little harmony, and
take it to the studio.
Take it to the studio, man.
Yeah. And tell him no, we tried to work.
He said, know your history. Then he said, no, your history.
Right. He got the Luther Vandross in there. He said, it's going to be.
I'm telling y'all, it was all over him yesterday. He was ready for it. I saw he was singing that in the car.
Oh, man.
So he was humming that on the way in.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Oh, man, a great jingle. Know your history.
You better make sure he.
Who invented the potato chip? George Crumb. Know your history.
Make sure he ain't already went and copyrighted on you.
Hey, he might have recorded that thing and go release it next week.
I can't stand here.
I'm going to perform it at the Super Bowl next year.
Is he doing his head all,
Yeah, he in that thing.
This is jam.
Yeah, man, that was so clever. Oh, look, I ain't a stealer, but I'll use something like it.
I'm not
a stealer,
but
and let me shout out. Is it Willie Wetneck?
Willie Wetneck Johnson.
That brother.
You gonna keep it going?
That brother is an icon in the hood.
That brother.
There's shoes all over on the streets everywhere.
Not bad enough. You gonna keep it going. I just, it just ain't no place for me here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get out.
Michelle, know your history.
You be at home. You be at home making your breakfast, walking around, singing that song. You be singing that.
Because we can't do McDonald's, 365?
Can't do it. All right, y'all. I'm getting ready to go try to learn some more history.
Yes.
I
When
will
you see
tuck
them
you
shoes out there, you know why.
Thank you, Devon.
Young lady.
No, thank you, Jermaine. No, thank you, Jermaine. Right now.
Wet Willie.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce.
What's
The Latino community thanks you too.
Took what I said. We had a 30-minute conversation.
I gotta go. I gotta go.